Hello and welcome to Tabletop for One. Today I will be doing another playthrough of One Deck Galaxy, the spiritual successor to One Deck Dungeon. One Deck Galaxy is very similar to One Deck Dungeon in some respects. The stats here for the different colored dice and placing dice on cards, but everything else plays quite a bit different. It is quite its own game, and so far I've been enjoying it a lot. So this time I'm going to be playing against the Dark Star Syndicate. And the Dark Star Syndicate is trying to do these grand experiments that affect space and time and all sorts of things like that. So during the course of this game, it will be putting experiments out on the board. One is right here. I'll reveal it in a moment. And these experiments will be messing with what I'm trying to do. And on top of that, when you get rid of an experiment, it actually makes it harder for you to deal with the boss. And we'll go into that as we play. I've got everything set up here. I've got my 2 fleets, my card of science there with 3 science. I've got the Plum Plim character here. So I get 3 yellow, 4 pink, 3 blue, and 2 stars. And its level up ability is have 16 science at some point. I also have the ability to move any number of influence from one location to another. And then I'm using the Scientist Society, which is all about activating techs. So to level up, I need to activate 4 techs, or 5 techs, or spend 7 stars altogether. And the way you end up spending 7 stars is you can use 2 stars as a a star base token if you need to, but it's also a way to spend a lot of stars. So you definitely want to work on getting cards that give you lots of stars. Also, the ability down at the bottom here says I can spend 1 of my fleet to launch a probe. And so you're able to launch probes regularly, which is going to play really well with the Plum Plim requiring 16 science. And when dealing with the experiments here, we'll go ahead and flip this over. So our first experiment here, called the Time Dilators. So you may place any number of dice here with a value of 3+. During the results phase, discard 5 cards from the deck, -1 for each die here. So what this particular experiment does is try to advance time. So it's going to be depleting this deck quickly if we don't put dice here. Now I can spend, during the action phase, any amount of resources I want to. And when I reach certain thresholds, like this 3 science, I'll gain a 3 black die. 6 science will gain me a black number 4. And 9 will give me a black number 5. 12 will shut it down. When you shut down an experiment, you're going to end up placing it underneath the boss card. Now, this Dark Star, during the adversary phase, it's going to gain science. So I'll go ahead and start the adversary phase here. Well, yeah, I'll just start it to get it going here. So it discards a card, and then it's going to take the next card as science. And at that point, you're going to check to see if they have this much science here, which is 9 currently. They only have 2, so we're okay. Now, if they had 9 science, we would discard those science cards and then flip this over. Now, I cannot advance on the boss track until I deal with this. And dealing with this, I have to place dice here. Now, if I salvage this, or shut down this experiment, it becomes salvage and gets added under here. And now, when I need to flip this card over, I have to spend even more dice to do it. So that is how that works. So you're going to see this card get flipped over. And you're going to see a pile of experiments fill up here, or salvage at that point. Now, the lose condition to this game is if there are if there are more experiments plus salvage than my current level. So right now there's one experiment and I'm at level 1. So we're good. But the moment it adds on another experiment, if I'm not leveled up, I will lose. So we definitely want to work right away on leveling up. And I think the only way we're going to do this is with my homeworld's level up condition. That'll be our first level up, that is. All right, so we're going to move on to the discovery phase where we put out 4 cards. We got one encounter, one location, another location, and another location. All right, so that's not too bad. The problem is this encounter is kind of hard to deal with. It requires 9 science. We kind of want the science for my homeworld as well as dealing with the experiments. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. Now, if the encounters cause an escalation, then we just add another card from the deck as science to the Dark Star Syndicate. All right, so let's go ahead and roll the dice. I've got 3 yellows, 4 pinks, 3 blues. We're going to set these up here. So a couple things we want to consider is that we may want to deal with this as soon as possible. I don't really have the dice for that this time, but we definitely want to deal with that. Remembering that if we have one of these red tokens, it prevents us from losing during that loss check. So it'll save us a round. So now we're going to look at these things here and see what we can do. Remembering that I have this ability to move influence from one location into the other, we may want to use that to our advantage. Also, we definitely want to start building up some research. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 tech token here. And then I spend 1 fleet to launch a probe, which will give me the top card here. And that's 2 science. That's not much. So I need 11 more science in order to get this level up here. We don't necessarily have to get it this round, but we definitely want to consider it. And this here, this one's an easy one to fill up, and we may want to use this one to be able to transfer influence. This, like I said, this one's good for transferring influence. So I'm considering just at least putting that there to gain the first influence on there. With this lock symbol, you must do the top row before you can do the bottom row. Now, I can't exactly do the bottom row. If I did, I would have to spend this 5 here and then take these 2 5, exchange it for a 5 black, which I could do. That'll get us going on the influence, and maybe that's what we need to do. So let's just go ahead and play it that way. So we got the 5 black there. So we're going to get 3 influence there during the results phase. Now, the question becomes, do we want to research these? Spend these dice here, these 3s, onto here so it discards less cards. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. And we're actually not going to research these, and I'll tell you why. I think I'm going to go ahead and use them for the probe, because if I research like this one here, it'll cost me 3 dice. Sorry, I say research, it's study on the Starbase card. If I study this one here, it removes it, and then I get another card. And I don't know that I want to risk getting another encounter right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the probe. And so we're going to go to the results phase. So during the results phase, we go ahead and get these here, and we're going to add 3 influence to this. And then we're going to look over here, and we're going to do the probe. And we're going to take one of these for our science. Hopefully it's a 3 or 4, and it's a 4. So that was a good gamble. So that puts us at 9. And once again, we want to work our way towards 16. And then we do the results here. And so we have 2 dice here. That means it's only going to discard 3 cards instead of 5. All right, now that I've done that, we're going to move on to the adversary phase and start of a new round. First thing is to discard a card. Next, we add science here. And then we're going to add 1 card of influence to the encounters here. Now it's at 6 science, so we're still good. And then everything's good here. So we're going to move on to the discovery phase, which we would add more here if there weren't 4 already. There's 4. And so now we're going to move on to the player phase. I'm going to roll my dice. I got 3, 4, 3 again. And we're going to roll that there. Okay. Not a stellar roll. So, got to decide what I'm going to do here. We definitely want to get some more science. So we have 9, okay? This would give us 7 if we researched both of these. But I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do the probe just to see what we get. So we spend our last fleet. And then we gain this one here as science. So that's another 3. So that puts us at 13. So we just need this one. And I think we're going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 4 dice for that, but in a moment. First, I'm going to use my ability on my home world to move this influence here. Move any number of influence from one location to another. That means I can't move from an encounter to a location, but one location to another, so that puts 3 there. Now I have 3 towards this one. Because this one gets progressively harder and needs a lot of yellow dice, and I don't have a lot of yellow dice, but this one's easier for me. So now I'm going to spend 6 here. And then I have a red 5. And then I'm going to turn the 6 and 5 yellow into a 5 black, which is going to gain us this card, or gain us 3 influence here. And now I need enough influence to research or to study this one here. And we're going to go ahead and place 4 there. Actually, I'm going to swap out 1 here because I want to use this last die as a 3 there. All right, now we go on to the results. This is going to gain us 3 influence once again. Now you can see next round I can transfer this over here and gain this card. And I can keep using this particular one to transfer influence. Again, this is an easy 3 influence in my opinion that it will seem to work in our favor. All right, so we got that. Then we're going to study this. So I'm going to double count here. We got 4, 7, 11, 16. I hope that's right. Yep. All right, so we have 16 there. That's going to gain us a level up. So now we're in a better position. And we'll get rid of these dice here. Then we're going to resolve this one here. So that means we discard 4 cards from the deck. Wow, we're pushing on through there. However, I feel pretty good about where we're at. I'm going to do a little cleanup here. And I can't yet spend this to deal with the experiment. So the next action phase, I can spend all this, or well, 12 of it, and deal with that. And that's what we're going to end up doing. Okay, moving on. We go to the adversary phase. We're going to discard this card. We're going to add 1 here. And now this is going to push this over. Okay, so now that we're here, these cards get discarded. And then this flips over. So once again, before I'm able to attack the Dark Star Syndicate, I'm going to have to flip this card back over by spending these resources. Or these dice. Okay, so now we add 1 influence to this here. And once again, I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with that. That's just going to have to be okay. But we do need to deal with this. We can't keep discarding from that deck. So let's go ahead and gain our dice and roll. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of 12 science. And, yep, that's 12. To get rid of this card. Now on top of that, again, I gain all these black dice. So I get a 3, 4, 5 of black dice, which will be helpful. Okay. Now we're going to work on this here. Well, let's see. Yeah, so what we want to do right now, we want to build up some fleet again. Maybe do some probes and whatnot. I can't use my ability now since I do not have any fleet. I can still use this one, though, to move influence, which we will do. We'll just go ahead and move this over. We can easily gain this influence again. We're going to add the 7 here, a 6 here, and a 5 here. Now we're going to look at gaining some ships. Okay, so we need 3 of a kind here, and then 2 of a kind here. And we're going to do... I can either do a probe or get 1 more ship. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do a probe, and we're not going to end up using this die here. Okay. So let's go to the results phase. First things first, this has enough influence on it now that I gained this card. All right. So now we got to decide where I want to put it. It would be nice to get the yellow and pink dice, but it would also be nice to have an extra ability, especially since my next level up requires 4 activated techs. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take it as an ability. We'll be able to roll an extra blue. So that's helpful, especially since this has blue here. And then we'll go ahead and resolve this one here. And that's going to gain influence. And then we're going to resolve these here. We're gaining a total of 5 ships. So that's 3 cards with 1 turned around. Or, there we go. Okay. And then we're going to do a probe for the last action there. And that gains us 2 science. Okay. So that is the end of the results phase for us. Now we're going to move on to the adversary phase. We're going to discard a card. We're going to add 1 as science to the syndicate. We're going to add 1 as influence on here. That's going to put us at 3, which means that we're going to escalate. And again, escalate for the Dark Star Syndicate is add a card. Wow, that puts it right at 8. We want to deal with this before this gets to the 9 here. And the reason why is if it gets to the 9 while this is flipped over, then we have to dump 10 cards from the deck. So we definitely don't want to do that. Now, when you escalate an encounter, you learn from your mistake and you gain this as science. So we got some extra science there. That puts us at 10. And then we are ready to go to the discovery. And here we go. So we're gaining 3 cards, and that's going to deplete the deck. Now when that happens, we place that up here. And beginning of the next adversary phase, that's going to be added in. It'll be one of the experiments. Okay, I'm going to shuffle this up real quick. All right. Now we have one encounter in front of us that we may want to consider dealing with soon. It only requires 1 fleet and some yellow and red. It's not horrible. And we have our dice here. I need to roll them. Need 1 more yellow. Nope. Got the right amount. All right, so here we go. We've got some higher rolls, which is going to help us deal with flipping that card over. Now, basically, we're going to end up flipping that card over to only have it flipped over back over again. But that's how that goes. Now, once you take a look at my plan here with this influence here, you see this one here? It only requires 3 influence to level up. Now, normally, I'd have to spend 4 science to do that, and that just takes up a lot of resources. I can just transfer that influence over. So that's what we're going to do there. So now during the results phase, I will gain this card. And it has a pink and a star on it, which I think that's what we're going to take as resources. We need another star because we have 3 abilities, but only 2 stars right now. Now we're going to look at dealing with this. Okay, so we need 14, which we have 14 blue. That's kind of convenient. Okay, and now we need a combined total basically of 28. 14 on one and 14 on the other. So we have 14 there, and we have 11. So we have my other ability to roll a blue. So we're going to do that. And we gain a 5. And that's going to put us at 16. And that's pretty much our turn. We could spend some of these as, I have 10 science. So we could spend 3 science per black die I could roll. But I don't think it's worth it this round. We just kind of want to deal with that and move on. We still gained this card. So we didn't, not progress. All right, so we go to the results phase. We're going to gain the card and discard these. We're going to add this to our stats. I'll put this over as ahead of time here. And then we're going to deal with this here, causing this to flip over. Notice that the salvage remains. All right. I'm going to add the die ahead of time to our pool here. Okay, so now that we've done that, we move on to the adversary phase. We're going to flip this card over. This is their new experiment. It is for each card added to the discovery zone, spend 1 fleet. If none are available, discard 2 cards instead. Ooh. Okay, so that's going to be fun to deal with, but at the same time, we're already at 10 science, so we could deal with this rather quickly, and we may have to. But let's move on to the rest of the adversary phase. We got to flip over this card as a discard. We got to add 1 science, and that's going to put them over. So we take these, discard these, flip this over. Then we're going to add 1 influence to the encounter. And now we move on to the discovery phase. We're going to add 1 to the discovery zone. And now we've got to pay 1 fleet or discard 2 cards. We definitely don't want to discard 2 cards, so we'll pay the fleet. It's a good thing we built that fleet earlier. And now we are going to look at how we're going to approach this turn. We got to roll the dice. So we got 3 yellow, 5 pink, and 3 blue. Okay. We can also spend one of these to roll another blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 fleet to launch a probe. And so we're going to draw this card. And we got just enough science. That puts us at 12 to get rid of this card. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn all these in. And we're going to gain 4 fleet back for that. But we're going to have to spend it now on this salvage. By the way, this is 2 salvage, which goes along with our level 2 here. So we're still okay, but we're going to need to level up soon in order to stay in the game. We also need to get one of these tokens soon too. Okay, so let's not forget to add 4 fleet. Got a good amount of fleet going there. And then we are going to deal with the dice here. So we may want to look right away at getting rid of that. That is 15 blue. And 14 there. And now we have 13. So what we can do is we can spend 1 fleet to make this a 2. And that puts us at 14 there. When we gotta spend our token there and 4 fleet. And now we've completed that. And there's really not anything else we can do at this point. We're out of dice. But we're gonna flip that card over, and then they have no science right now, so we have a good chance of attacking them in the next 2 to 3 turns. All right. So we're going to take these off. Flip this over. Enter into the new adversary phase. Discarding a card. Adding 1 as science to the syndicate. Of course it's a 4. Why wouldn't it be a 4? Luck's not in our favor today. All right, we don't add anything to the discovery zone, and we're going to go ahead and roll these. Okay. Wow. So we're not in a really good position to deal with attacking the syndicate this round. We don't have 19 pink right now. We only have 9. We do have the ability of dealing with the blues. But it's just too far gone, the rest of it. So let's look at gaining influence otherwise. And maybe some ships. I don't think we're dealing with this round. So we can look at this one here. That one's kind of cool. I don't recall I've seen it. Do you notice what it says? It says, "You've got mail." You've got mail, company. So all the dice here must have different values. So that'll be difficult to get this here, because if we did a 5 and a 1 here, we would need to use... We don't have enough dice here, basically, to make that happen. So we can't do that one. We could do this one. We would just, all dice here must have different values as well. So, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to use our abilities here. So let's go ahead and roll this blue that we can. It's a 5. That actually might have put us in the right position. So if we do these here, I would have to spend 1 ship to make that a 6. We have 9. Take these 2. Oh no, it's so close. It's so close. It's not enough. Well, there's another option. All right, see how this works. So we're going to spend 1 fleet to launch a probe. And if we get a science of 3 or more, we'll be able to roll a black die. And it's a 2. Okay, it's just not in our favor. All right. So what I'm going to do here at this point is I'm going to add these here to add 1 influence. I'm going to put these here. We're going to gain some ships. And I'm going to spend 4 of these to study and 3 for another probe. I really wish I could do this here, but it's just not in the cards this time. Okay, I'm going to move on. Results phase. This one here is going to add 1. And then we're going to gain 3 ships. So flip this one around. Adding 2 more. We're doing research or study here. We're going to add this one there. And then we're doing a probe. Oh, it's an encounter card too, so that's good. All right, so that's the end of the round. We're going to put our tech discs back, go on to the adversary phase, discarding a card, adding 1 to their signs. That puts them at 7. Adding 1 influence here. And then now discovery phase, we are putting 1 new card out. Now we're going to roll our dice. Once again, we really kind of want to go for that, because otherwise that card's going to flip next turn. Okay. I really don't think that was a good roll. We're going to spend 1 of the tech tokens here to roll a blue. Come on. 6. Nope. Okay. And then I don't know that we're going to launch a probe yet. Let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. I can't deal with this, so that's just going to escalate. Nothing much I can do about it. So we need a 5, 6, and 19. We can make the 5 and 6 by turning that 4 into a 6 with 2 fleet. Is it worth spending all my science? The night is young. Let's do it. Okay, I've got 9 science here. We're going to spend it all for 3 black dice that we're going to roll. And that gives us potentially 11 there for the pink. We're going to get rid of 2 fleet to make this 4 into a 6. We'll place those there. So now we just need 8 in pink right there. And that's going to help us take off that first level of defense on the boss. All right. Now let's deal with what's in front of us here. We need 7 blue. That is what I want to do. So we've got 4. I can turn these 2 These two singles and these two, this is not like thrifty at all. Those two singles and those two twos into a 1 and a 2, and that's going to put us at 7. Then I'm gonna go ahead and spend one ship, one of my fleet, to launch probe. Another encounter card, so that was good. And I have 1 die left over. Nothing I can really do with that. And we're going to move on to the results phase. So this one resolves, adding an influence to it. I have no other resolutions on my side. Up here, we're going to resolve this. And that'll gain us an adversary token. Once again, that's going to protect us when momentarily here we're going to have another experiment in play, putting them at a total of 3 experiments in salvage together, which is more than my level. All right. So now we are going to go into the adversary phase. Sorry, just taking a scope of the land here and figuring out my position with everything. All right, we are discarding a card, adding 1 as science. It's 4, putting them at 11, which is above that amount. So these will all get discarded. This will flip over. And then we don't add anything to the discovery area. Oh, before the discovery phase, we add 1 more influence here, making this 3, which causes this to escalate. We'll gain it as science. Oops. But these cards will be discarded. And then the escalation cause the enemy to gain more science. And now in the discovery phase, we're going to add 1 more here. And there we go. All right. We're sitting at 3 cards left before we add an experiment. So we got to be really careful about adding any cards. So we're going to go ahead and roll these dice. So I got 5 pinks, 3 yellows, 3 blues. Okay. We're going to transfer influence from this location to this one. All right, so that needs 4, and we've got 2 there. We should try and gain influence here. So we got 7. And then oh, let's go ahead and spend 1 token here to roll the blue die. It's a 2. I was just looking here. We could start gaining influence on that one as well. But we do want to build some science because we're about to get an experiment. We want to gain some cards. This would actually be a really good card to gain eventually. But the question is, do I want to get this science here? Actually, let's do this. Because the reason why, I could try and get these and that'll give us 3. But I think we can get this 3 here. So this is 15. So all we need is 2. Except it says no dice value of 1, 2, or 3. So in order to get that, this is going to be weird. We're going to spend 1 fleet to make this 3 into a 4. We're going to take these 2 4s and turn that into a black 4 and place that there. Now we're going to get 3 influence here. Now we have some dice left over here, and I think oh, we're gonna get an experiment no matter what. Okay, so I think what we should do right now is we need to gain some fleet, and so I'm gonna put 2 here, 2 there. All right, let's go to resolution. So this here is going to gain an influence. This one here is going to gain 3 influence. And that'll be the last 2 cards of the deck. Now we're going to gain an experiment going into the next round. Let's shuffle these real quick. I don't think I'm faring too well against this Dark Star Syndicate. All right. And now I resolve these over here, and I'm gaining 3 fleet. Okay. And that's going to be it. All right. Now we move on to the adversary phase. Okay, he's going to discard a card. Well, let's see. We're going to gain this experiment. Techno siphons. To place a star on a tech, you must also place a starbase token, or die of value 3 here. Wow. Well, that's going to be problematic. All right, so now we discard a card. We're going to add 1 as science here. That puts him at 7, of course. We don't add anything to the discovery zone, and we're ready to roll our dice. Oh, before we go on to that there, this happened at the beginning of the discovery or the adversary phase. This was not in play at the beginning of the adversary phase, so we did not get overwhelmed. We would not have to use that token. Again, they have 3 salvage and experiments, which is greater than my level 2. So we did not get overwhelmed, but we will next round. So we gotta take care of that. All right. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and roll the dice. We got 5, 3, 3 again. Still. All right. Got some decent numbers here. Okay. So a couple reminders that if we want to spend any of our stars in tech, we have to put a dice of 3 here, or the starbase icon. So I'm not sure what we're going to do about that. But we definitely want to transfer some influence. So we're looking at, we have 2 here. If we transfer this 2 here, to here, that'll put it at 5. And if we can get that 17 here, then we can gain this card, which will give us a lot of stars and the blues die. However, if we transfer 2 influence here, we'll gain this one, which will give us stars as well, or we can use it as for its ability. We can use either of these for this ability. I'd rather have this one for its stats and this one for its ability. So, and we need to level up soon. So we need to be able to activate 4 techs. We have 1, 2, 3 here to activate. We need 1 more. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, activate this tech, which requires a die of 3 or more here, or my starbase icon. Let's just go ahead and use that. And then I'll transfer these 2 here. Okay? Now, we need science in order to deal with this. And we also need to flip this card back over before the next round. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's start with seeing if we can deal with this. Except we don't have 4 fleet. Ay, ay, ay. I think 10 cards are going to get dumped from that deck. Well, that's just how it goes. If we can't deal with that this round, then we look at what we can do. So we're going to check these here. I could easily get these here. Well, mostly easy. Same with this here. Because I got the 12 here. I can turn these two into a 5. We almost have enough for that. But it might be worth it to do this for the 2 influence. Even more so than dealing with this one right now. And let's go ahead and spend our tech token here. Spend 1 of our fleet to launch a probe. And we'll need to spend a die here for that. Or the other. Yeah, let's just spend the other tech token there. Okay, so we'll flip this over. We gain 4. Puts us at 9. So I think we need to go ahead and do some research and some fleet building this turn. We're gaining 2 here. However, we could do some really big gains next round. Or at least gain this one, maybe. If we put that 7 blue there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 5 there. I'm going to turn these 2 3s into a 3 black. I'll gain 1 influence there. Then I can transfer next round these 3 influence over here, and I'll gain this card as well. Now we're looking at studying this one, which will take 4 dice, and then spending 2 on the fleet, because we need 4 fleet to deal with this. All right, so I think that's where we're at. So we're going to take these off, adding 2 fleet or 2 influence. We're going to take these off, adding another influence. We gain this card, which we will gain as an ability. And next round we will be able to level up. The reason why that is, even though I only have 3 tech tokens, my ability says I can use the Starbase token as a tech token. So I have to activate all 4 of these, of course, if I have this out of here. Okay, we're going to activate these here, gaining this as science. And then we're going to activate these 2 there, gaining ships. All right. Now we're moving on to the adversary phase, and as of right now, we have to realize they have 3. We're checking for my failure. I had to spend this token. That token's gone. So now I'm not overwhelmed because I spent that token. We're going to discard this card, add 1 as science. Of course, it's a 4. That puts them at 11. All right, so now... Oh, sorry, we're going to move these back over here. So now it says if I had enough science there, while this is flipped to this side, I did oh, it's not even that good. I discard the highest science card, so 1 of those 4s, and 10 cards from the deck. Ay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my goodness. At least one of them is an adversary. Or an encounter. Okay, so now we are going to flip this here for the discovery phase. Please no encounters. Yay, all locations. And we're moving on to the... to the player phase. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and spend all this science to get rid of that experiment. Okay, now we're going to add this under here, but as a reminder, we get 4 stars on this one for that. So we'll gain 4 stars. I guess we don't need to use the star base token. I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 of those to gain 2 fleet. That's the ability, that new latest ability I got. Spend 1. Oh, I haven't even rolled my dice. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm spending 1 to roll a blue dice, so I'll just add that to the pool. Sorry, it's getting late here. I think it's the day after already. Might be past midnight. Okay, so I rolled the blue. And now I'm going to move any number of influence from one location to another. And we're going to move these 3 here. Maybe not. I'm second guessing myself. Is it worth moving these, or is it worth just activating this because I can? I've got enough to activate that. Honestly, I should be totally focusing on that right now. So we're going to move these over. And then I'm going to spend 1 of my fleet to launch a probe. And at this point, we've activated 4 techs, which is going to level us up. So now we're level 3. Sorry, I got to launch that probe here. There we go, 4 signs. All right, let's look at handling this. We have 4 fleet for this. We do not have a 6 and a 4. But we have the ability, well, we only have 1 fleet to adjust dice. We do have the ability to gain a black die. Do we have enough? I don't think we have enough. Okay. There's not there's not nearly enough there, is there? Not nearly enough dice. And we're about to get another experiment. I don't. I'm telling you what, this is tough. This is really, really tough. I don't know how we're gonna accomplish it. You know, I could do something really interesting. I wonder if I should just focus on what's in front of me. I could level up real quick. I think. Not quite. I was thinking I had enough stars here to level up. But I guess not. Okay. So we can't deal with this round. It's just not going to happen. So what we need to do is we need to build up a lot of science. That way we can deal with that experiment the moment it comes out. And hopefully gives us bonuses to deal with this, flip that over, and then be able to attack the following round. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Let's see what we can do. All right. So let's do some studying and some probes and also some ships. So we're going to do 3 2s here. And that's going to get us 3 ships. We're going to study, we need 7 dice there, maybe 8. Yeah. Let's just do 8 because that'll get us to 12 science. That way we get 4 black dice in the next round. Okay. So we're going to go with that. That's that. The results phase gains me this card, which I'm going to place under because honestly, we kind of need the stars and the dice. Discard these. We're going to turn these in as having researched these two. We're going to turn these in, gaining 3 ships. So this one flips around, gaining 1 more. And that is going to end up the round for us. All right, we got to discard those extra ones we had. And we're moving on to the adversary phase. So first thing we do is discard a card. Then we add one as science. And that puts it at 10. And I'm pretty sure that means that, yeah, if there are at least that amount. So if there are at least 10, that's going to happen. We're going to discard the highest one, which is the 4. Then we're going to discard 10 cards. So this is 1. We'll set that aside for next round. Sorry, folks. It looks like I'm just not going to win this one. We are moments away from being overwhelmed again. I do not have a token. I might be able to level up, but honestly, it's just not looking good. In fact, I think I lose next round. All right. So we get discard 9. Okay. And then we're going into the discovery phase. We're going to add 3. And that, well, there's no encounters, so that's good. And then we're going into the player phase. All right. So now we're going to roll these. Yeah, I think we're going to lose. I actually think, well, this will add in after we check to see if I'm overwhelmed. So I guess I'll get one more round. Hopefully this is enough to take down this here. All right. So we need 14 blue, which we do not have. So we're going to go ahead and use our tech to roll blue. It's a 1. Oh, yeah. We are going to spend 1 fleet to launch a probe and hopefully get a 3 or more. It's a 2. Wow. Just can't get any worse, can it? We're going to gain 2 fleet. So there's that. We're going to just go ahead and spend 12 science. This is the worst idea ever. To roll 4 black dice. Okay. 6, 5, and 1, 1. So we need the 6 there. We need a 4 here. So we got that. We need 14 blue there. So there you go. Now we need to spend the Starbase token and 4 fleet there. And we need 14 and 14, which is that. Whoops. These were 4s. So 14 there. And we have 5, 12, 13, 14. We have 1 left over. I'm debating spending some of my fleet to increase these dice so I can keep the 3 and use it to gain more science. So we have 12 here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and spend these 2. Whoops, wrong spot. Sorry, I was not trying to cheat. I'll make this a 3, and that gives us the 14 there. All right, so that's done. We'll spend these 3 here for studying. We'll go ahead and resolve that. So we're going to study this card here, costing 3. Okay. And I'm going to just set these tech tokens aside for now. We are going to take all these back. Okay, so now we get to flip this over. It'll probably just be flipped back the next turn. We move on to the adversary phase. We do not get overwhelmed because at the start of the adversary phase, we would be overwhelmed had the condition here doesn't say it on here, but it's in the quick guide. The quick guide will tell you that it's actually at the end of the adversary phase. So there you go. We're going to reveal this here. That's going to put them over our level, which I think means we would have lost earlier, but at least you got to see more gameplay. But there you have it. They have 4 salvage and experiment, and that's more than my Federation level, and I lose the game. Well, there you have it. Thank you very much for watching this playthrough. Sorry for a couple goof ups there, but I hope you get a sense of the Dark Star Syndicate and how it plays. This is a very difficult adversary. Perhaps I didn't have the right kind of setup here. I may have to choose a different homeworld and different society to battle the Syndicate. Maybe I should have upgraded my starbase. Who knows? All I know is I constantly felt behind with all these experiments and salvage and everything that kept adding up. Nevertheless, having fun as always. This game surprised me at how much fun I have with it. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content you see here. Please comment below what you think of the game. And thank you very much for watching Tabletop for One, and have a great night.